Hey everyone, let's do a recap of what we did in class. I'm going to show you how you can add new tiles to a level, how you can add a new type of tile to the game in the tile class, how to change how the character displays, and maybe that's it. So let's start inside game. If you want to add a new tile to the level, you don't want to do it inside the main game loop, because the whole point of that is it is a loop that's running many times a second. Adding a new tile to the level seems like it's about setting up the level at the very beginning, so here we are inside the game's init method. Here's where we create the screen object, we create the input handler, we load the level from an image, and then I'm adding some additional tiles that aren't given in the tile, that aren't given in the level image. So if you look at the parameters here, they are x, y, and new tile. So this x, y are in what I'll call tile coordinates rather than pixel coordinates. So let's look at the game. I'm adding a stone tile at 3, 3, and if you look at the game, here's the stone, but 3, 3 in pixel coordinates would be way up here in the upper left-hand corner. So what's happening is each tile is 16 pixels by 16 pixels, so about that big, and I'm going over by 3 whole tiles and down by 3 whole tiles, and that's where I'm displaying it. Oh, excuse me, I'm going over and down by 4 because the 0, 0 tile coordinate is the upper left, so it's actually 0, 1, 2, 3, and 0, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's how you can determine the location of the new tiles you want to add. And depending on the type of tile, some are solid and some aren't. So, we added a grass tile, we added a stone tile. Let's add a new type of tile. I'll say level.setTile at. Let's set it at, so let's see, X, that's columns. So I'm going to set it at column 1, row, like 10. And tile dot, let's just make a random water tile, because I think this should be in the middle of the grass. And then let's run it and make sure it's there. There's my random water tile in the middle of the grass. Okay, so let's take a peek at the tile class. These capital stone, grass, stone, water, these are predefined constants. And you can hold control and click on one, and so now we're inside the tile class. If you scroll down a little bit, first of all, notice that the tile class is abstract. And abstract classes, if you remember, are classes that exist only to be extended. So here inside the tiles package, you'll see basic tile. And basic tile is the class that extends tile. So this is actually the first tile class that has all of the appropriate methods filled in. However, the tile class, the abstract tile class tile, has these public static final constants. Final means it can't be changed. Static, remember, means that it is a class variable, which is why I'm allowed to access it by saying tile.void. I don't actually have to make an instance of tile, which is good because you can't make instances of abstract classes. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm running constructors for basic solid tile, basic tile, animated tile, and the constructor, we can take a look at what parameters it's expecting. It says it expects a tile sheet, an X and a Y, and a level color. So we should check what this X and Y are about. Are they pixel coordinates? Are they tile coordinates? What's it all about? So I'll hold control and click there. Looks like it doesn't say, but let's look at the super constructor. Okay, here in the super constructor, it's saying tile sheet and then row and column. So row for the tile and the sprite sheet, note not pixel coordinate. So that must be the tile row and the tile column in the sense that we were just talking about before. You can go backward by holding the Alt key and pressing the left arrow key. So that takes me back to where I was before. So if I want to add a new kind of tile, public static final tile, and then I think before we added a whale tile, so we'll make it a new basic tile, sprite sheet, tile sheet. You'll notice that tile sheet is another constant that's defined inside the sprite sheet class, so it's a statically accessible constant. And Now I need to actually look at that tile sheet and figure out where is the whale tile inside the tile sheet. So remember in class we did all our counting, so we said it was like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I forget, I think it was maybe 17. And then, so that's column 17, and then I think it was row 7. So let's try that. So, I forget if it was row and column, so let's go back and check that again. Okay, it is row column. So the row we said was something like 6, and the column was something like 18. This part over here we talked about, this was the color that this tile would be associated with in a level image if we wanted to load the whale tile automatically from a particular pixel color. So I'm just going to make this pixel color unique because I don't care about loading it from a level image right now. And so we've made the whale tile, but now let's go back to game to actually place it. So I'm going to make this now be a whale tile instead of a water tile, and we'll see if we actually got the whale. We did get the whale. Cool. Another bug we had was we weren't sure why this was not displaying transparently. And I'm still not sure why, but we can work that out later. Okay, so that's whale. So I think the last thing we were going to do was change how the player itself is displayed. So here is player. Here's the player's render method. Right now it just runs render animated standing because our sprite has, our character has 4 different sprites that display one after the other. What this tick count is about, tick count gets set inside the player.tick. Here's player.tick, and you see tick count increases. So it's just a count of how many times have we updated. We try to update about 60 times a second. So tick count mod 60 less than 15 means that we are in the first quarter of a second as time elapses. This means that we're in the second quarter of a second, third quarter of a second, and then this one's last quarter of a second. So in other words, every quarter of a second we switch what we're rendering. Screen is the screen instance that's given to our method. And screen has a whole bunch of render methods. And what the render methods do is you tell it a world coordinate location, and you tell it a particular tile in a tile sheet, and it will render that tile at that world location. So X and Y are our player's location. Sheet is the tile sheet where the player sprites are. 0, 0 is the upper left-hand tile in the tile sheet. So let's just see what that looks like. It's not this tile sheet, it's a different one. Let's get it. So it's this wizard one. So 0, 0 is this wizard up here. 1, 0 would be this wizard right there. Oh, sorry, 0, 1, because we're doing row then column. So you see that we're loading we're displaying it at the same XY coordinates every time. We're using the same tile sheet every time, but the specific tile within the tile sheet that we're displaying is changing. And we're displaying 4 adjacent tiles, which are these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so those 4 don't look that different from each other, but they actually represent an animation. The sort of lights are changing. So we talked about maybe when the wizard is over water, having the wizard represented by this one down here. So we got to figure out what the row and column is. So the row is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is column 4. Yep, and the row is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4, 6 is row column. So up here in render, let's just write this down so don't forget. So row column is 4, 6. And if we just wanted to change it so that the wizard displayed that way all the time, let's copy one of these screen.render calls. And instead of running the render animated standing method, I'll render the player at the XY coordinates using that tile sheet, but we'll have row 4, column 6. This is whether or not we want to mirror it, and we don't want to mirror it. So let's see if that works. Oh, it looks like I was off by 1. It's the hunched over, and he's just starting to appear. So I think I want to go for... I want to go down 1 more row. So let's try that one. Not quite. Did I want 6.4? I'm really tired right now, guys. Okay, well, close enough. Okay, so that's definitely loaded a different one. What if I only want to display this when my player is over water? There is a method built into the player class. And this, by the way, knowing about what methods are in what classes, that's why at the very beginning I had you guys look through all the classes to see what was available, because it's a great way of knowing what basic tools you have. So under Windows Show View Outline, you can see a outline of all the player things, and I'm just kind of scanning down all the methods here. It looks like we've got a lot of getters and setters. Move seems like a particularly interesting one, and get moving direction. And then down here, we've got, what do we have? Get current tile type. So get current tile type is going to tell us what type of tile we're standing on. So let's do that. Tile current equals this dot get current tile type. And now we can say if current equals tile dot water, then we'll display as that thing. Otherwise, we'll do our regular animated standing render. So now when I run it again, he's a normal wizard until he gets onto water, and now he looks like a star. So one thing that you might be wondering about is, here, let's slow the player down, because some of these details are maybe a little bit off from what you would want them to be. I'm going to make the speed 3 instead of 15. Okay, so if we're moving slowly, it looks like he can get most of the way onto the water, and in fact, now he's all the way onto the water except the very top. So I would expect that I would want him to have changed already, but he doesn't change until he is entirely inside the water. So maybe we don't actually want that to happen. So what this points me toward is maybe we want some other version of get tile that we're standing on. Or rather, I want to know, how does that work? Like where does it actually look to decide what tile we're standing on? So let's find it. I'm going to go back to Show View Outline, and then get current tile type. So I'm asking the level to get the tile type at world coordinates XY. Okay, XY was my player coordinates. You might not know this, but XY is actually the upper left-hand corner of my player. So maybe I want to modify get current tile type so that it actually samples from the middle of my player, or maybe it uses the coordinates maybe near my player's feet. So width and height, or the width and height of my player, if X and Y are the upper left-hand corner, maybe I really want to do something like X plus width over 2, which should take me to the middle coordinate of my character, and then Y plus height over 2. Or maybe I want to do like 3 times height over 4, so that it's like 3/4 of the way down my character. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So there we go. So 3/4 of the way down my character, I turn into the star as soon as I hit the water there. So that's the kind of thing that I want you to be able to experiment with. I don't want you to kind of helplessly say, oh my god, it's not working, how do I make it work? Instead, reason logically. Think, okay, so if it was get current tile type that was testing to see what the tile type was, let's poke in there and see how it works. And then you can say, okay, world coordinates, oh, what are these coordinates? They must be the wrong coordinates, and you can kind of reason about how you might want to fix them. Okay, see you guys next time.